My question is for Madame Pierre-Louis. Following the seminar in September, did you feel that there was some sort of consensus emerging there with a number of priorities which were identified in order to carry out this second-level exercise, so to speak? Indeed, this morning we were very encouraged to see that at the opening of the WISE Summit, the priorities which had been identified last year were spoken of. So are we ready now in order to lead the way and see where this takes us for the next summit? So, Chairman of IUF. Thank you for your question. Of course, we would like to see how we can skill up, how we can make sure that such experiences are taken over on a public policy level. And it was very good for ministry representatives to be there and see with their own eyes what's happening on the field. This being said, before we achieve such goal, it is still really important for us to network, to map out all of the experiences. We've identified around 20 of them, but there are many others. This way, we'll be able to bridge the gap between the ministry, the donors, and the field experiences. I hope that the task force will keep its mandate, will coordinate the mapping exercise, and will thus build a bridge with the ministry and the donors so we can achieve public policies based on these study cases. Michel, thank you. Very briefly, in this overall context, you have certain people who are very reluctant on the field, you have certain strategies at the ministry level, then you have bilateral, trilateral agreements, and there is not much communication between all of these stakeholders. And one of the goals of the task force is to make sure that everyone does actually work together.
From the RAND Corporation was task force member. And Bert, if you want to say something, you have the floor afterwards.
Yeah, Jean-Eric, I want to follow up exactly what you were just speaking about. You had it sounds like a very productive group of people. I wanted to ask whether there are already enough forums in Haiti for groups like this to come together, or whether we should think of the task force as establishing an ongoing meeting place to bring this group or a group like this together to continue the productivity of these discussions.
Would you like to answer, Michel, or possibly Franny also?
You see, at the end of the conference, that was a demand. Practically every participant of this conference said, why don't we have a conference like this every year? Except that in between the two, there should be some kind of work done so that the conference is the end result of a process that started with this first conference. So it's something that is on the table and that needs to be discussed, because we don't want to just have conferences, 4 conferences. This was a very, very good start, but at the same time, we have to see what do we focus on now to be working precisely on building something that can lead to another conference where maybe more stakeholders can be there and share experiences and really start to build gradually. I don't know if you want to say something.
I was very impressed by the quality of sharing that took place. And I think it indicated that there was maybe not enough opportunity, particularly given that this was a few months after a very major disaster. So people's minds, even on the day-to-day life, are on other things. But they had an opportunity to reflect, to share, and to start from what works. And I think this was very positive. What I also thought was positive, and it was in the early remarks of Madame Pierre-Louis, is the regional variation. Small as it is, as a country, there was variety of what works. And I think this idea of just seeing it in space, mapping it to see what could be the constraints that are preventing the ideas from being transportable from one location to another. That would be visually and also from a follow-up point of view very useful. And then the last one is as I said, it was my first visit to Haiti. I see there's a lot of opportunities for cross-learning between Haiti and Africa, because there are success stories in Haiti that could be very useful in Africa and vice versa. And I think this idea of the broader cross-oceanic learning and exchange would be very, very useful.
If you may, that reminds me that we were very impressed by the presentation that was made by Mrs. Liotier, and a lot of people, participants in the conference, were asking, how can we partner with our institution to build capacities in Haiti? And I think that is also one path that we can follow.
Yes, Franny made a presentation on the capacity building lessons based on the institution that she's leading, which is the African Capacity Building Foundation. I want to give the floor to Martin, who was with us in IT. Martin Burt, former WISE Award.
Thank you very much. I would like to congratulate the task force for the respect with which they treated the people of Haiti. This is a very delicate point. This is not Afghanistan. We cannot go there and mess around or mistreat the people of Haiti. So we have to start, and I think that this was a very good starting point, with respecting the dignity of the people who are doing things in their own country. We are not going to rebuild their educational system. The Haitians will rebuild their educational system, but we cannot parachute, give 2 or 3 suggestions and then disappear either. So I think that this is a great opportunity for the WISE initiative and for the Qatar Foundation, but we have to make a long-term commitment, because or else it's just going to be one fad. And we already know that many donor countries, and today Jeffrey Sachs mentioned that, many donor countries have not fulfilled their commitments. So this is a very serious problem of the credibility. So for us as the WISE initiative and the Qatar Foundation to retain our credibility, we have to make a long-term commitment, even if it is nothing more than helping create the environment where the Haitians are going to identify their own best practices. Maybe we can be a neutral party, but we need that strategy, a long-term commitment. Because my question to you is, can you transmit to the leadership of the Qatar Foundation that this takes a generation? So we need to commit to 5 years, to 10 years of working this, or else it's going to be an insufficient effort.
We take note of your words. Thank you very much, Martin. There was a question here and another there, and then I will stop because we have to finish up.
Hello.
I would like to ask you to be very short.
I will. So my question is related to whether the 20 initiatives you have identified are all replicable, one. Two, what kind of modality do you have in mind for taking these initiatives to scale? In particular, what kind of role do you have for the public education system and for the local communities and local ownership and resources, which is fundamental?
All right. First of all, the initiative that we selected came from public, community, and private sector. So they were not all private. We made sure that there were several cases that are from the public sector, that are geared by the government. Now, if I understand the question well, is you're asking how do we scale up? And this is what I was saying. First of all, that was our first conference of the type in Haiti, especially after the earthquake. Education is a major, major issue in the country. Every single parent, whether poor or rich, and probably the poor even more so, knows that education is the way out of poverty. Maybe it's not the only condition, but they know that it is the sine qua non condition. So it's very important for us to find out more what's going on at that grassroots level, what experiences, what skills, what goes on, because it's true, I'm from the country, I know pretty much what's going on, and we, the foundation that I'm the president of, was the one who really facilitated the task force in identifying the different initiatives that were selected. So I think we should not stop here. We should really map out what is happening in Haiti in terms of education, in terms of innovative initiatives, and try to network first among those different initiatives to see what can be shared with outside partners, how can we influence the public sector and the ministry to begin with, to see how their views can change in adopting what works in those initiatives. So there's still, again, Mr. Burke, I don't know if we're talking about 5 to 10 years, but Mr. Burke is right. This is a long-term process. And the situation in Haiti was already difficult before the earthquake. However, what has been selected, showed a good path to start building, and to start also having a meeting place for these different experiences to be exposed and to build on. Thank you.
Be short. Yeah, be short.
Hi, good afternoon. I'm from Brazil. I'm pretty amazed with these two examples of task force, but I would like to know more about the education in Haiti. How is this? How many students? How is the budget? Are you able to give some more general information?
If you go on the website of the WISE Haiti initiative of WISE, there is a document, about a 50-page document, which presents the education system in detail. So you will find what you want.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I am Shafiqul Islam from BRAC. Congratulations to the task force. In a year time, you have done a wonderful job. We are active in Haiti, doing the extent we can really do, but our best experience is that we are learning much from Haiti than we are giving to Haiti. We would like to really work with this task force, and I fully agree with my friend Bart that the work in Haiti, particularly the education, would be requiring a long-term commitment. It cannot be a project-based kind of initiative. And we would like to see that we ourselves are with you. And that's the message. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Last question, and then we'll stop because we have to finish up. I'm very sorry about that. You wanted the floor? I know you were not. Okay, so it was wrong. In that case, I think no, there is someone? Okay. So please, you are going to be the last question.
My name is Aisha Badialou. I'm from Guinea, in West Africa. My question is this. You have shown the best practice. showing the ownership of these experiences by the people from Haiti. What does the Minister of Education think of it? Because it will be up to that minister to scale up. You have shown what is workable. What is the position of the Minister of Education of Haiti?
The problem is, as everywhere, the problem of institutions. Institutions, they become solidified, they become blind, and that applies not only to national institutions, but also international and multilateral. And when there is something which is life and taking on the ground at the bottom-up process, generally institutions don't see that. And it's not because you show once to the institutions that something happened, that there is life on the ground, that they see it. So there is a need to repeat and to show, and as I was saying, to put again the glasses before then the reality becomes more conscious to them. So there is still some work to be done before the institutions can take up and build on what we have tried to identify.
If I may add something, the ministry was there. Their high-ranking staff was there, and I think they were very impressed by what they saw. That doesn't mean that they will change rapidly. And it's also, one good thing is that the President of the Republic himself came and gave the closing remarks to the conference and repeatedly said that education is one of his 4 priorities. So I suppose this also can be helpful from the top.